All right, guys, we're back with the second part of this video. So first I explained the essay outline and what should be in your introduction, and then I talked about how to form a main idea sentence from the question. So the first main idea that we talked about, if you read through the prompt, it says, what is the future food from the title of this story? Well, we said, all right, well, for our first sentence, for our first main idea sentence, we know that we want to answer one of the questions in the prompt. So what we said was, all right, well, you know, uh, in this article, we learned that future food is growing meat in a lab instead of hunting it or slaughtering it, right? That could be one of your main idea sentences or your main idea sentence one. Now I'm going to read the rest of this prompt and we're going to see how we can do main idea sentence two from the question and main idea sentence three from the question. So it says, what is the future food from the title of the story? How do people feel about this future food according to the article? Do you think it's a good idea? Why or why not? So from that, I'm going to take this line here and I'm going to focus on that part of the question where it says, how do people feel about this future food according to the article? So I might go back into that article and realize that there's a couple different perspectives or a couple different thoughts that people have about this future food idea, right? So my idea or my sentence for main idea sentence two would be a sentence that explains how other people feel about this idea of future food. Okay. Now, for main idea sentence three, we want to answer the next part of that question. The last part says, how do you feel about this idea? Do you think it's a good idea? Why or why not? So this would be my sentence where I would say, I think that this is a great idea because, or I disagree with the scientists' decision to do this because, right? This main idea sentence is going to be your last main idea sentence where you answer the parts of the prompt there. So after you write down your sentence to get people's attention and then your three main ideas, that's going to kind of do it for your introduction. That's going to kind of end it. So then you transition on into your body paragraphs, right? Now you can see that this is body paragraph one, which is your first main idea. And that comes from this first main idea sentence in your intro. So again, the first sentence that we wrote about, we said that future food is a type of meat that's grown in a lab. So then this first body paragraph, which is actually paragraph number two, is all going to be about what future food is, right? So in this first sentence, you're going to talk about and introduce the main point of what future food is, right? Then it's always a good idea to have three examples from the story. They're going to help you explain yourself, right? So this paragraph's going to be about what future food is, and then you're going to write down three examples from the story that tell you what it is. Now, again, I told you in an earlier video, make sure if you're using something word for word out of that article, that's totally fine, but you have to put quotation marks around it. Because if you don't put quotation marks around it, that's going to be called plagiarism. That's actually like illegal and a real bad idea, right? So if you're quoting something directly from the article, make sure that the quote goes in there. And then like you can see right here, I put my nice quotation marks around it. Okay, so let's try to erase this here. There we go. Now we're moving on into our next paragraph, right? Technically paragraph three, but it's body paragraph two, which is about your second main idea. And if we go back up here to our second main idea sentence, we talked about how that was answering the question of how do other people feel about this idea. So this would be where you would introduce your next paragraph and you'd say, people have many different ideas or many different opinions about this future food concept. Then you'd give one example about how somebody might feel. Then you give another example about how somebody might feel. Then you give a third example about how somebody might feel. So all of these are your examples. They're going to help you prove your point of how other people are feeling about this future food. Okay. Now, in the next video, I'm going to talk about body paragraph number three, which is actually paragraph number four, and then we're going to move on into the rest of this. So stay tuned for the next video on this outline.